Want to be a cowboy. Anyway, Parashat Re'eh. Parashat Re'eh usually we read on the Shabbat, of Shabbat Mevarchim of Chodesh Elul. And it will give to the person who would look into that, if you me'ayen in this parasha, it could, it depends of course how dead wood are you, but it could give you quite of an inspiration towards the month and whatever we need, is ahead of us during this month. It might even give you some strength and without a doubt a tremendous spiritual elevation, if you choose, of course, to do so. For this month, this month is very, very important. Everybody thinks that the month of Tishrei sets the tone for the year, but it's not. It's always the month of Elul that sets the tone for what is going to happen how you're going to receive Tishrei. Everybody takes it like, And by the way, if you think that you're just saying slichot and by this you pay your lip service, you're absolutely wrong. It really has to be internal work, an internal in-look on what is it you're doing, and more so, how are you looking at things? That's why this parasha is Parashat Re'eh, look at. There is a special ability of this month that allows a man to connect with the spiritual, to connect with the Kadosh Baruch Hu a little bit more than the rest of the months of the year, because the Kadosh Baruch Hu comes closer to us. So that's closeness to us. Yarad Dudi Legano. So therefore, that gives us an ability to reach this elevation. And if you are not feeling more spiritually uplifted during this month, you really need to take a very good look at yourself, because something is detrimentally wrong with you. That is, by the way, put in place because for every Jew, in order to bring you closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, so you could really meet Him, and in a way, is an analogy of the rest of your life and what will happen after you are dead. Where all your life you work towards that moment that you're going to see HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which is Rosh Hashanah. In a way, Rosh Hashanah is the analogy of our death. And when we come to face God, that will be the same thing. You gotta be ready for this. You gotta be ready for this. So, and it really has to do with your outlook at life. Our parasha starts with a pasuk, and we're going to deal with this pasuk a few times during this parasha. It says, I give you a curse, a blessing and a curse. Re'eh, look, pay attention. So the Mefarshim ask us, why does the Torah starts with the Lashon Yachid and then continues with Lashon Rabim? Starts in the singular and then it moves to plural. And the Kotz Karav, where's Rebs? Hi, Rebs. The Kotz Karav says, Noten lechulam, that he gives to all. Netina b'midah shava. He gives everybody the same amount, the same portion of bracha v'klala. But that giving that is equal to all is being viewed by others, by people differently. Some people view it as a bracha, and somebody view it as a klala. Re'eh noten ani lefnechem hayom. Bracha v'klala. The whole parasha is about choosing. Now you're going to choose whatever I give you, but what I'm giving you is identical to all. In other words, as the more you'll see into what we are talking here, hopefully today, is that you really don't have much reason to complain. And if you're complaining, it's because you choose to look at things bad. It's all good. Or it's all bad. Depends how you call it. There are groups of people. The half cup, half empty, half full, half this, half that, right? Yeah, these are nice shoes there, Avner. Next time get cowboy boots, it'll look better. You have cowboy boots? No? What kind of man are you don't wear cowboy boots? You got cowboy boots, Mr. Z?
Not enough. Dinero for that.
Not enough dinero? Rob a bank, I don't know what to tell you. You know how many pair of cowboy boots I have?
14.
About 14. I only got 2 legs.
4.
6. 6? Yes, I got six cowboy boots, yes. Pairs of cowboy boots. Yeah, it's close, yeah. Anyway, close but no cigar. So that answer of the Kotzker Rav seems to be very simple, but it's very, very deep. If you come to think about it, it's a very deep philosophical point that he brings up. That kind of takes away a lot of our fuel that we would like to. Oh, poor me! I was this, I was, and so on and so forth. But of course, the theme around this parasha is that most likely we don't want to, and we always blame somebody else. We throw the blame on him the blame on this one, blame on that one. Meanwhile, it's all our choice, but everybody else is guilty. It's everybody's fault besides us. It's our choice how you see things, right? So it reminds me of a story about a small town that had many craftsmen in this town. Many people that work and they did, whatever they did. There were barbers, there were shoemakers, there were tailors, and so on and so forth. But one thing for sure was not in that town was a watchmaker. Where's Jonathan when we need him? Not this Jonathan, Johnny, the watchmaker. There wasn't a watchmaker in this town. Slowly, within time, all the clocks and the watches in the town, broke. Until the point there was no point of having a watch. People stopped using it. They all fell apart. People didn't even set the time, and hopefully there would be. Maybe somebody will come. And even if they did, they never keep time. One of those stories. So after a few years, a watchmaker came to visit the town, and the people of the town were very happy, and they greeted him, of course, greater than they greeted a Talmid Chacham, because after all, he was a watchmaker, and everybody took his watches to him, and they stood in line for him to watch, and it goes watch after watch after watch after watch after watch. So I'm sorry, guys, I cannot fix any of them besides Moshe Liz, I don't know, they call it Moshe Liz, right? Moshe's watch. And they were astonished. Why all? Why all? You can't fix, and only Moshe's you can fix. So he said them very simple. He's the only one that continues adjusting and turning the clock. Even though it didn't work, he kept on trying to set it. So therefore it's easier. The other one just simply froze. I don't know if you know, you can get corrosion inside the watches, and at a certain point you can throw it away. He's the only one who kept on tuning it. Even he didn't keep the time, he kept on tuning it. That's why I can fix it. What does it say about you in terms of your internal tuning? Okay. So, after, and of course, people did have a choice. They all had the same choice to wind their watches. But he's the only one who did so. They stopped, he did so, regardless of what the people around him did. That's why you should never look at what other people are doing, because their outlook might not, and most not likely, match yours. And if they have a bad attitude and you go along with them, Mazal tov, you just got yourself some bad attitude. Bad habits. It's near impossible to get rid of. If a person is negative, and you choose to be negative with him, because, tovim ashnayim min ha'echad, better two than one, you just handed over basically your future and an ability to make a good decision. Of course, if you are a whining, a whipping willow, you're always complaining, you're never going to be able to make, by the way, good decisions under pressure. And there's always pressure in life. Pressure is there. How you choose to handle it, that's already your choice. If you are unable to make good decisions under pressure, you are into some rough ride, ahead of you throughout your life. I can tell you this for sure. It's guaranteed. Guaranteed. So I guess we're in a Hasidic tune today. So the Sfat Emet is really astonished at the proximity of bracha veklala as one, in one breath, bracha veklala, and he explained that the bracha veklala serve the world be'irbuvia. They are joined together in the world, intertwined into each other. And he explained that bracha veklala, both of them, HaKadosh Baruch Hu put in our world to try us, to test us, and to check the vessel that each one is presenting himself to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. In other words, what's your kli kibul, your holding vessel? How much can you take? All of a sudden, you might look at the nisyonot and might understand the nisyonot that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave Avraham Avinu, the nisyonot that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave Am Yisrael, to see what are they made of, what are they capable of. You want to go through life with no test whatsoever. You want to go through life as you graduated out of the top university with a postdoctorate without even spending one day learning. You don't want any tests. You're afraid of tests. You're afraid of any effort to put in. It's terrible. What are you made of? Do you know what you're made of? One of the things that they do to soldiers, and the more difficult, the more elite the unit, the more difficult the test, is not just to filter out who is capable of doing the work or not, is to show yourself what are you capable of? What are you made of? You have this outlook in life. Now, if you're a winner, say, all right, it's a test. Bring it on, we'll take it. I mean, we do know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu does not give tests to a person that he cannot. These tests that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us are tailored to us. They're custom made. So in other words, when you have a nisayon for you, a test for you, that is tailored to you, because he cannot pass my tests, and I cannot pass his test, regardless of where we're holding. He might be a great, great person, and I could be a chad v'shalom low life. He cannot pass my test, nor I can pass his test. These are all custom made for each and every individual. So therefore, if you failed your test, you failed it big time. You were supposed to pass it. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not going to give you a test in which you cannot pass. Now, if you fail within your own hands, your own efforts. Nothing to be afraid of the tasks ahead of you. When you have to choose left, you have to choose right, always choose right, not wrong. Because you know, every one of us knows, every one of us, without asking a rabbi, or opening a fortune tellers, or reading the tarot card, or going to some Chinese blind man to tell you the future, each and every one of us, by design, knows what's right and what's wrong to do. And it's your choices. And your choices make you. You are your choices. You are what you chose to be. Don't tell me circumstances. You created circumstances. Whatever happens in the world is nor good nor bad. How you chose it to be determines the outcome of events, either good or bad. Now, if you think this life is so difficult and so bad for you, it's because you chose to see it like that. And that's what it's saying to us here. Right? Even though the clock might seem to be broken to you, you keep on fixing it every single day, because it all depends on your ability to see things, to view things. How do you see things? Do you see things the way they are? Moshe Rabbeinu was able to see things the way they are. We put glasses on, we put shades on, sometimes we blind ourselves completely. We pull our eyes out not to see what it is. When we say a person sees things, right? He sees things the way they are. We always corrupt our vision. And that's very bad. That's your free choice. So when you make those decisions, don't come crying to anyone. You always have a choice. There will be a price to pay, just like anything else, there's a price to pay. But ultimately, it's your choice what you do. If there is a dream of you have a dream in your life. I don't know, what's your dream? Yontan's dream to be a cowboy. He wants to be a rancher. He wants to drive there with a Ford Raptor and a 1,000-acre, right, with cattle and stuff. Okay, you want to do it? Go ahead and do it. Who's stopping you? If that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. Go ahead and do it. Nobody's stopping you. But if you became a banker and you want to be a rancher, well, you got to pay the price. You got to pay the price this way also. At least you live your dreams. And when you make decisions out of fears, I told you many times, these are decisions that are not based on emunah. Because you see the HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not going to do anything bad. Everything that comes out from HaKadosh Baruch Hu is good. So why are you calling it bad? El Emunah. Do you dye your hair or something? Oh, you look a little funky. Maybe you took a shave today. Right. It's about time. Anyway, so that choice allows us to open a new page and gives us a koach to reach the next level up. Every time we choose and we elevate ourselves and we choose the right thing, that choice, it's allows us to make a step up, or if it's bad, it allows us to make a step down. And you keep on making decisions, you determine the direction that you're going up, you're going down. However, there's certain people that go up, go down, go up, go down. In other words, in 30 years, they're at the same level. They never moved anywhere. Just keep on going up and down, the same thing. One step up, one step down. One step up, one step down. If you choose right all the time, you keep on going up in your mother. This is called stairway to heaven. Going up higher and higher. And therefore even if the chas v'shalom, something so-called that is bad happens, by choosing the right thing, you're able to take the klala and make it into a bracha. As Resh Lakish says in Masechet Yoma, in Daf, anybody wants to try?
Thank you.
Sure, you're close. Tzaddik Pei Vav. Very good. Zedonot ne'asot lo keschuyot. Even if you're able to choose right, even if you did something purposely wrong, that becomes a schut for you. Depends how you choose at the end. So in the next pasuk it says, "Et habracha asher tishmu lemitzvot Hashem Elokechem, asher anochi mitzvah etchem hayom," right? Those bracha. So there is also a kind of passage of bracha, and it says, "Rea anochi," from seeing to actually hearing. Okay? And the Shem Mishmuel stands on that and points out, and it says, "Hine lefi seder leidat hashvatim," according to the order of the tribes when they were born, Chodesh Iyar is mityaches leShimon, veChodesh Nisan is referred to with Reuven. Why? Ki Reuven al ki ra'a Hashem. Shimon ki shama Hashem. Those 2 months are b'china of Re'iyah and the b'china of Shmiya. The Zohar says that Re'iyah refers to something that is close, and hearing is from a distance. In other words, in Nisan, where Bnei Israel saw in their own eyes HaKadosh Baruch Hu, because it says, "Lo yispik betzetam shel avotenu lachmitz ad shenigna alehem melech melachei melachim," as we say in the Haggadah, right? So that is close, and the Chodesh Iyar was only we were left with the association of hearing, which is a far distance, and it says shalosh paim bashana, right? And it says of course, in Re'eh over there, with the words Re'iyah, right? Ayin Ra'ah, and Re'iyah, and seeing. Re'eh anochi noten lechem hayom bracha u'klala, leman itav lecha u'levanecha acharecha, ki ta'aseh hayashar b'nei Hashem, ki ta'aseh hatov v'hayashar b'nei Hashem Elokecha. So you see, I mean, of course, we have to go also shalosh pa'amim b'shana, Yera'eh kol zechurcha, and then, even the Rachok from Bnei Israel, and we have to go and do mitzvat hakel, and so on and so forth. But that gives us an opportunity to look at what we call re'iyah, seeing, which is very, very interesting in terms of language, the context of that. So the Rambam dedicates the fourth parak in the first part of Moreh Nevuchim to an outlook for the concept of what is this seeing, because seeing is different. He talks about re'iyah, hebit, chazah, which refers to different types also of prophecy, right? Haroeh, chezyon, chalom, and so on and so forth. So the Rambam over there talks about it, and he reveals the fact that there are two different types of usage of the word to something that has, for those three different topics that we have, two different subjects that we have, which is Ra'ah, Hebit, V'chazah. So the first one is called Riyat Ha'ain. Riyat Ha'ain, the eye sees. The second one, Hasagat HaSechel, your ability to intellectual is Lehabit. Ra'ah is to see. Lehabit, to contemplate, is something that has to do with the Sechel. For example, Vayireh v'ineh be'er basadeh, right? It says, like it says in Bereshit, he saw, and all of a sudden there is a well in the field, and that of course is Riyat Ha'ain, in quarter v'libi ra'ah arbe chokhmah v'da'at, which is Kohelet, right? With Shlomo HaMelech, which refers to Hasagat HaSechel. So based on this division, he holds that every time we use the word Re'iyah, that comes and refers to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, is also a kavanah lehasagat hasechel, something that we're able to understand with our intellect, and not to riyah in the ayin. In other words, not necessarily seeing, more as of understanding what HaKadosh Baruch Hu really wants from us. So re'eh ani noten lefanecha hayom, really it takes a totally different meaning in terms of what does it mean re'eh, not looking, understanding. So it says, for example, Ra'iti et Hashem, or Ve'iru et Elokei Hashem, which those two psukim, according to the Rambam, shows us of Hasagat HaSechel velo Re'iyat Ha'ain. In other words, of understanding in an intellectual level, not necessarily seeing things visually, but understanding things in a different level. And however, we can look at things a little bit different, which is a little bit different than what the Rambam. So first of all, not like the Rambam, when we talk about the biblical way of looking at things, we could see HaKadosh Baruch Hu Riyat Ha'ain. We could so-called see whatever is HaKadosh Baruch Hu. In other words, however, whoever sees HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not going to live. Right? V'lo yirayeni Adam v'chai, aval yirayeni v'yamut. A person can see HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu also has apparently something that the eye could see if HaKadosh Baruch Hu allows it to see. It's the same thing as Yechezkel, when he went and he saw Kilivnat Sapir and Mutal Yeshivat Al Kisei and so on and so forth. However, the other one is that there's no difference, there's no separation between Riyat Ha'ain and Hasagat HaSechel. There's no difference between seeing with your eye and understanding with your head, and there is a certain continuity between them. Especially if you look in our parasha, and let's try to look into this a little bit different. And if we go to Sefer Bereshit, back into Sefer Bereshit, it says, "Vayomer anacha shel ha'isha lo mot temutun, ki yodea Elohim ki biyom ocholchem mimenu v'nifkechu anechem v'aytim ke'elokim yodei tov v'ra." And the famous snake, tells Chava, "You're not going to die." Kadosh Baruch Hu simply knows that the day that you're going to consume from the fruit of the tree, that particular tree, you will be able to be like God, be able to understand or to distinguish between good and bad. And then it says, "Vatera ha'isha ki tov ha'etz lema'achal," and she saw it. that is good to eat. וכי תאווה הוא לעיניים. You see, right away we associate ראייה with תאווה, ונחמד העץ להשכיל, and the tree is very good for the sechel, for the intellect. ותיקח מפריו ותאכל, ותיתן גם לאישה. She took the fruit and she ate it, she gave it to her husband, and so on and so forth. ותפקח לעיני שניהם, וידעו כעירומים הם, ויתפרו עלי תאנה, ויעשו להם חגורות, and all of a sudden they realized they were naked, and they made the fig trees, and so on and so forth. So the words of the Nachash we could refer to the understanding of the sechel. If you're going to eat from this fruit of the tree, your eyes are going to be able to distinguish between the good and bad. But we could also interpret this a little bit different, that they ate from the free asul, they ate from the forbidden tree, and then the eyes simply opened up, which is those eyes, until the point the eyes were closed. But the eyes were closed and the eyes opened up, and then they really see in a visual manner. In other words, we could say that their whole interaction with the Kadosh Baruch Hu at that point had no need for open eyes, because it was all done through prophecy. But when they ate from this fruit of the tree, their eyes opened up, the prophecy kind of went, and you were able to see like anybody else. We never look at it this way. You could look at it this way. And then they all of a sudden realized, because they were naked. I mean, before they saw the naked. We always like to translate it differently, but all of a sudden you could see that you're naked. If your eyes are closed and you've never seen your eyes open, it seems very natural for you to be the way you are. Only when your eyes are open, you can see that you are naked. And that could explain some of the the difficulties that we have with this parasha. In other words, even if their eyes, even if you go with the fact that their eyes saw their nakedness beforehand, what was changed about them is their awareness. What we call in Hebrew moda'ut. Moda'ut in terms of ladat, awareness, because I'm becoming aware. I know what's going on, and that awareness has to do with seeing throughout your eyes. But it has to be a certain intellect to it. Otherwise, you have to have both the eyes and the intellect completely together in order to have an awareness. You can't be aware if your eyes are closed, or you see things and you don't understand what you're saying. So we could go back to the snake and say, which is not really a metaphor to achieving intellect or knowledge, but really opening your einei basar, in other words, earthy eyes. Even if your eyes were open and you could see, but you saw it from a spiritual point of view, not from an earthy point of view of desires and so on and so forth. And this is together with the ability to see things the way they are and an awareness, then you're able to understand or to be able to distinguish between good and bad. And we need to understand the good and bad are not just intellectual concepts, but are a real thing. They are a real thing that we have the ability to actually distinguish them. It's not just a superficial concept out there. You are able to completely distinguish between good and bad. Lirot be'ain mara u'matov. I mean, for example, if you see a guy slapping a guy in the face, is it good or bad? Zama, what do you say, good or bad? Bad. Rebs? Bad. Anybody want to say other than that bad? Yeah?
Depends who's he slapping.
Yeah, another person.
No, maybe he's a bad person. Maybe it's his son.
It's good to bet your son. I'll tell you this. How about the person is passing out on the floor and he wants to wake him up, so he slaps him. Is that good or bad? Well, it depends on the circumstances. You're able to tell by the action if it's a good bad action or not. In other words, good or bad are a reality. However, this reality is what you attribute to a situation. That determines on you. What you make into a reality Things are things. Whatever happens in the world, it's no good or no bad. But when you choose to make it good or bad, you almost have a divine power and ability to change and create a reality, and that becomes good or bad according to how you interpret it. And how much are you aware of it? What'd you say, Zalman? Huh? So let's go back to our parasha. So Moshe calls upon Bnei Israel to see the bracha and the klala, and the Rambam explains that it's really in hasagat sechel. The sechel understands this both ways and chooses between them. Your brain, your intellect, knows, able to distinguish, and then he chooses them. And Moshe comes. I mean, what we think is always re'ah in terms of the eye, and Moshe comes and takes those abstract concepts and make them into a real thing. Two different mountains, Har Bracha and Har Klala, Har Grizim and Har Eval. He makes it real to us. And this is not just a manifestation for people who are not able to see things abstract and to understand them. I mean, there's something very significant on the fact that he calls them Har Grizim and Har Eval, Har Bracha and Har Klala. These are real things. There's mountains. You cannot ignore the mountains. So easy. You cannot ignore good or bad, or you cannot ignore making a decision. And for that, of course, we need to understand the moral dilemma that we have, or the expression that they have, Hayashar ve'atov be'einei Hashem. That comes in Parashat Vayitchanan. If you know what to do, or you can choose, or for whatever reason you hatov ve'hara, right? You can't tell mishamshim birbuviya, so you should do hatov be'einei Hashem, lo be'einei Adam. First of all, hatov be'einei Hashem. Whatever the people will tell you not necessarily is good. Whatever Hashem will tell you is always good, because me Hashem is always comes out good. What you are doing, the decisions that you make, are they going to get the seal of approval of Hashem? And don't lie to me and don't lie to yourself. Say the truth. Is this something HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants from you to happen? Is this what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants you to do? Whatever it is that you're doing, you need to examine. Is that something HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, oh, attaboy, that's my boy. That's my boy. I'm proud of you. Is that something you will do? No. Okay, so don't do it. Yes, go ahead and do it. Run to do it. Think about all your actions you do. Think about every single thing you do. Is this going to wield the seal of approval of HaKadosh Baruch Hu? But the problem is that we always lie to ourselves. So at a certain point we got to stop. Because you're not lying to anybody but yourself. Yeah, HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants me to steal. I'll be like Robin Hood, I'll steal from the rich, I'll give it to the poor, What do you care? By the way, what do you care that the rich has a lot of money? Who says you're allowed to steal from the rich? Why do you think they're rich? Because God gave them. So when you steal, you're going against the will of God. Stealing is never good. Stealing is never good. There's no justification for stealing. It gets against the will of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So you could see, HaKadosh Baruch Hu might not be here micromanaging everything we do. He gave us some freedom to go, but He did not leave us without clear instructions how to operate and succeed in the matter of what we call our lives. But how do we go about it? How do we choose? Why do we choose the way we choose? Because we don't concern most of the time with God. We're concerned with people. Or with some fantasies that we have in our heads. And that becomes a problem. And it says in Parashat Vayitchanan, Shomor tishmuru et tzvat Hashem Elokechem ve'edotav v'chukav asher tzivecha v'asita hayashar v'atov b'einei Hashem leman yitav lach. Yitav lach does not mean you're going to have 7 bedrooms with 7 bathrooms, with golden toilets and, seat warmers. That's lo yitav lach. Yitav lach, first of all, you're going to have good life. A life with meaning, because you know that you're serving Hashem. You don't have any doubts. The problem, the quality of your life comes when you have doubts. But if you don't want to have doubts, do what Hashem says to you, asks you to do. Hayashar ve'atov b'nei Hashem. Hayashar ve'atov. In other words, don't teach Torah in one hand and steal from the other hand. Ze lo yashar v'ze lo tov. Do yashar v'atov leman itav lach. After you do that, וירשת את הארץ הטובה אשר נשבע השם לאבותיך. Then you can inherit the land in which HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave you. And of course, we said about the land, not necessarily the land of Israel, is your portion. You inherit your portion. Your portion is given to you based on your actions, on the decisions that you made. So if you're continuously having so-called bad luck, A, examine your actions, see what you're doing, maybe what I'm doing is wrong. B, maybe your outlook is completely different. Without getting into it, you know the story of Rabbi Eliezer. They sent Rabbi Elazar, his father sent him to give him a bracha and so on and so forth, right? And it turned out to be a klala, but it wasn't. It was really a bracha. It's just the way you interpret things. The way you interpret things. And that's something that you need to understand, is how you look into things. So, since in the first pasuk we already have the tzivui to keep the mitzvot, Chachamim says the mitzvah of la'asot yashar ve'edatov is to do me'ever l'shurat hadin. So we already have to keep the mitzvot. However, since it says hayashar ve'atov, it means that we have not only an obligation to do what God asks us to do, we have also an obligation to go lifnim mishurat hadin, to do the extra mile that is expected of you. You don't tell me, come on, Rabbi, it's impossible. I have 613 mitzvot and you ask me to do more? I'm going to tell you, yeah. And you know why? Because when you're going to work 9 to 5, if you're going to leave exactly at 5 o'clock and come in exactly at 9 o'clock, you're going to have a problem. You're expected to stay more. You're expected to stay more. And if you don't want to stay more, that's fine. It's not a problem. You're doing your job. It's not a problem. You're doing your job. Chazak Baruch, not a problem. But when you come to me to ask for a raise, I'm sorry, why should I give you a raise? I mean, I did pay you for your job that you did. So why you should get a raise? You should get a reward for doing your job. You get a reward every time you get a paycheck. You want to get a raise? Do extra. So you think you're going to clock your time and 5 o'clock out of the door? You're wrong. So for that is okay. For that, I'm going to ask you guys, how come you're not in Yeshiva? You're coming late. Well, Rabbi, I can't leave exactly 5 o'clock to be at the door. I got to stay 5:30, got to stay 5:45. I need to show that I can't. For that, it's okay. But to do a yashar lifnei Hashem, you have to go to extra mile for HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that's too much for you. I think you got a problem. And you know what the problem is called? It's called an attitude. You got an attitude problem. And that's why you go miserable throughout your life. Because your attitude stinks. If you're going to translate the way you work for Kadosh Baruch Hu into the workforce, you're not going to last a day. You have people working for you, right? If I'm coming to work for you and you're paying me, I'm a good worker, but I'm doing you a favor all the time. Say, listen, I'm doing you a favor. I'm doing you a favor. I'm doing you a favor. What are you going to do? How long are you going to stay there? First chance he has, he gets somebody else, right or wrong. He will be rather paying 2 other people instead of having a person with an attitude like that, right or wrong. Because you can't work with an attitude like that. It stinks. You can't work with a spiritual deodorant spray around you all the time. And that attitude is contagious to other people. You are the bad apple that's making the whole bushel stink. Attitude is a problem. You can't have an attitude with people. You cannot have an attitude with God. That's by all means, I'll tell you that much. So, when we talk, for example, we talk about Einei Hashem, the eyes of God. Do something, Hayashar v'atov b'Einei Hashem. And we're not talking about God has eyes. I mean, if he has eyes, he wears Ray-Bans now also for the sun or something. It's not a matter of God in eyes. But also it refers to how we do things. As I said to you before, the seal of approval of God. in the eyes of God, is that something that Kadosh Baruch Hu would say, yes, he's my partner, we are doing this together? Are you basically doing tikkun olam? Are you fixing things up? Or are you just making things worse for everybody around you? Because if you, for example, in a group of, let's say, like 10 guys, right? And there's one sourpuss there, one guy who's like this, he ruins the whole dynamics of everybody. He ruins the whole dynamics. It puts pressure, it's negative. However, if you are a leader and you're pushing people, you're encouraging people, you are contagious one way or another, but you choose how you're going to be. Because if you're the pain in the neck and you're causing that disturbance, you could just do the same thing in a positive way and become a good disturbance, push people, encourage them, be the motivating force to people to become better. But you chose that way, that's why you're going to get punished or reward for that. Get over yourself, you're not that important. None of us. I'm going to tell you this. If all of us stand on each other's shoulders, one on top of the other, and we're going to be this mega human being, we're still not that important. It's not about us. Oh, my feelings got hurt. I'll get that cold water and move on with your life. That's usually what people do when my feeling got it, so therefore he goes, he does something crazy. I don't know, he smokes something, gets drunk, I don't know, steals. Who knows what else you guys doing over there in the darkness of your rooms, right? When you feel bad about yourselves. Don't laugh. You know what I'm saying. That allows you to do things. But what it allows you to do is simply come up with an excuse for you to do something that you always wanted to do. You wanted to do the bad thing. You were just looking for excuses to do it. Or people to blame. Because if you were really good inside, there was never a problem. Doing the wrong thing will never be an issue for you. It will always be the good thing. Okay, it's different. What can I do? That's what I can do. That's the son of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I got to keep on going. But you were just looking for excuses to do what you always wanted to do, but didn't have the guts to do it. So you look for a reason to do it, and then you applied it to that. You got to talk to me about emunah? You got to talk to me about midot? That's how you're going to come to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, shame on you. So we should know, there's a lot to talk here. There's a lot to talk here. Anyway, I'm not going to talk about this further because there's I'm basically at 50% of what I want to say. So I have another at least 45% of what I want to say. I'm not going to say it here. But Rabotai, when you're going to come to HaKadosh Baruch Hu in Rosh Hashanah, aka when you're going to come to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when you depart from this world, we're all going to depart from this world. And the beauty of things is we don't know when. How exactly you're coming up? Your attitude is your clothing. Are you coming to HaKadosh Baruch Hu with clean clothes? Or are you coming to HaKadosh Baruch Hu with dirty clothes? Your attitude, that's your clothing. These are your spiritual clothing. How do you refer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu into this world? Positive? Negative? Do you see the bracha in everything that you do? Or you see the klala in everything that you do? I've seen people who have darling kids, good kids, and the parents think they are cursed. And my son, the Nebuch, wants to be a Talmid Chacham. Terrible, terrible, terrible. He's this, he's this, he's that. And then I've seen people, lo aleinu, with kids who are disabled, severely disabled, and they see such beauty in these people. They see such, Baruch Hashem, I have a child. This is how you see things. How you see things is how you interact with God in this world. Your attitude determines your relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I would recommend to you, since you're going to meet God, whether you like it or you don't like it, I suggest to you to fix your attitude, to start looking into the right things, to see things appropriately, to see the good, to act good, and to really determine how is this action going to get the seal of approval by HaKadosh Baruch Hu, yes or not. Again, if it's yes, you do it. If you're not, you don't do it. Shabbat Shalom.